Welcome to our channel. Have you ever really wanted something, but no matter how hard you tried, it remained just out of your reach? How did you deal with that disappointment? Today's story explores a very human reaction to failure, one that has taught us a phrase we still use to this day. Let's dive into Aesop's classic fable, The Fox and the Grapes. One summer's day, as the sun cast its brilliant golden rays upon the earth, a fox was wandering through the forest. He was no ordinary fox. He was a proud creature, with a coat of fiery red that gleamed in the sunlight. He walked with a certain swagger, an air that suggested he believed himself cleverer and quicker than any other creature in this wood. But today, the fox's pride could not fill his rumbling stomach. He had been roaming for hours, and a gnawing hunger clawed at his insides. "Oh, what a tragedy that a creature as magnificent as myself should suffer such a terrible hunger! My stomach cries out for a feast, yet this forest seems to offer nothing but leaves and dirt. I deserve the finest!" As the fox was lamenting his fate, a sweet, tantalizing scent drifted to his nose. It was a smell he had never encountered before, an aroma that promised deliciousness and refreshment. Driven by curiosity and his desperate hunger, the fox followed the aroma. He pushed through bushes, leaped over fallen logs, and finally he came to a clearing at the edge of the woods. And there he saw it. Before him was a glorious sight, a tall trellis stretching its wooden arms wide, and hanging from it with the most beautiful bunches of grapes the fox had ever seen. They were a deep, dark purple, almost black, and so plump they looked as if they might burst from their own sweet juice. The sun shone on them, making them look like precious jewels. The fox's mouth began to water. Incredible! Perfect grapes, fit for a king or a very clever fox. The very thing to quench my thirst and cure my hunger. The fox's pride swelled. He looked around, seeing no one. The vineyard was quiet and still. What a stroke of luck! It seems the universe has provided this feast just for me. Getting them will be child's play. With a surge of confidence, the fox took a few steps back. He didn't think he'd need much effort. He simply crouched, sprang from his hind legs, and reached. Whoosh! His claws sliced through empty air, a good distance below the lowest bunch. He landed awkwardly on the ground. A mere warm-up. I misjudged the height slightly. No matter. The fox felt a little embarrassed, but his confidence was not yet shaken. This time, he decided to be a little more serious. He backed up further, a good 10 paces. He took a deep breath, his eyes fixed on his prize, one particularly large, juicy bunch that seemed to be taunting him. "This time, you will be mine!" He charged forward, a blur of red against the green grass. He leaped with all his might, craning his neck, stretching his front paws. This time, he was closer. The very tips of his toes brushed against a grape leaf. But that was all. The grapes remained safely out of reach, and the fox tumbled to the ground again, a little harder this time. Annoyance began to creep into his heart. His confidence began to crack, replaced by a nagging sense of frustration. How strange! This trellis is taller than it looks. There must be a trick to it. A clever fox like me just needs to figure it out. So, instead of jumping blindly, the fox began to circle the trellis, analyzing it from every angle. He was like a general planning a battle. He looked for a weak spot, a foothold, or perhaps a bunch that hung lower than the rest. After a few minutes of searching, his eyes lit up. Aha! There it is! He had found a bunch, not as large as the others, but it seemed to hang a few inches lower. Hope surged in his chest. This was it. This was his chance. He felt his cleverness had won. Work smarter, not harder. That is the fox's motto. Now watch this. He positioned himself carefully right below the bunch. He took no running start. Instead, he would pour all his energy into a single, powerful, vertical jump. He tensed his body, his muscles coiling like springs, and then he launched himself upward. This time he gave it everything he had. A grunt of effort escaped his throat. He stretched, he reached, he strained. His claws scraped the bottom of the bunch. He could feel the cool, taut skin of a single grape for a split second. But that was all. Gravity won, and the fox came crashing down to the earth with a heavy thud. He lay there for a moment, the wind knocked out of him, his heart pounding, not just from exertion, but from pure, unadulterated anger and shame. The frustration had now curdled into rage. He had been defeated. He, the clever, cunning fox, had failed at such a simple task. He felt foolish. He glanced around nervously, hoping no one had witnessed his humiliating failure. The forest was still silent, but to the fox it seemed as if every tree and every bush was laughing at him. He got to his feet, his body aching and his pride shattered. He looked up at the grapes one more time, but now something had changed. They no longer looked appealing. In his eyes, their deep purple now looked bruised. Their plumpness seemed a sign of rot. The fox could not accept the truth that he had failed. It was too painful for his ego to admit that the grapes were simply beyond his reach. So in his mind, a new thought began to form, a thought that would protect him from the feeling of failure. Who would want those old things anyway? He stuck his nose in the air, pacing back and forth like a gourmet critic reviewing a substandard dish. In fact, now that I get a good look at them, they're not even ripe. Their skins look greenish in places. I bet they are sour, so sour they'd make your face pucker up. He stopped and scoffed, a hollow sound with no real humor in it. Yes, they are completely unworthy of the attention of someone with a refined palate like mine. Let the silly birds have them. I wouldn't eat such sour grapes even if they were served to me on a silver platter. I'm off to find something better. And with that declaration, the fox turned his back on the vineyard. He walked away with his nose in the air, as if he were leaving by his own choice, not out of defeat. He didn't look back at the juicy, sweet grapes that still hung in the sun, completely unaffected by his opinion. The fox walked on, his stomach still empty, but his wounded pride now temporarily patched over with a thin layer of deceit. And so the fox continued on his way, convincing himself he didn't want what he couldn't have. The moral of this story is, it is easy to despise what you cannot get. This is a profound lesson in human psychology. When we face failure or when a goal is out of our reach, sometimes, to protect our ego, we pretend we never really wanted it in the first place. We find faults with the goal, calling it sour grapes to make our failure less painful. Like the fox, instead of admitting our own limitations and perhaps learning from them, we blame the very thing we desired. But true strength isn't in pretending you don't care. It's in acknowledging the disappointment, learning from your efforts, and perhaps trying again another day with a new strategy, or gracefully accepting the failure and moving on. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day, and remember to subscribe to the channel for more stories.